Canada's National Day of Truth and Reconciliation has now marked our calendars for every September 30. But shouldn't reflection on Indigenous issues affect all Canadians for more than just one day a year? And what happens if truth is found and reconciliation is achieved? What then? Do we rename the holiday? Or do we just simply spend it on a beach in British Columbia?
Podcast starts now.
A new National Day of Observance saw its inauguration this past September 30th. The National Day of Truth and Reconciliation made its first imprint on the calendar after being passed by Canada's Parliament earlier this year. In practical terms, this means anyone in the federal sphere, government and federally regulated employees, had Thursday, September 30 off as a holiday, as well as those provinces and territories that chose to mark the day similarly, like Remembrance Day. Every November 11th, the federal sphere and a smattering of provincial and territorial jurisdictions mark the day with business closures and employee time off, but not all. On this day, Canadians were encouraged to consider the past, present, and future of Indigenous Canadians and their role and part in society, the economy, governance, etc. Or, if you were one of the lucky few to hang around with the Prime Minister, you would have marked the day at a beach in British Columbia, which doubles up my position. I'm not sure if a holiday is the right way to go. I do firmly agree that a lot of things need fixing, but make no mistake, fixing isn't easy. The Indigenous reality in Canada is multidimensional. It's a tapestry of human conditions, experiences, and cultures. The Indian Act is central to so much of today's reality, and has a legacy that many analysts argue cannot simply be eliminated by repealing the legislation. I'm one of those analysts, and I talk about these issues in my newest book, a special edition called Canada's Indian Act. It's both a learning tool as well as my own contribution to this year's very first National Day of Truth and Reconciliation, which I believe should be ongoing instead, perhaps every Wednesday, perhaps every day, which, incidentally, is one of the reasons I'm releasing this podcast about 3 weeks after the holiday occurred. Drop me a line if you want to know more about the book, or visit your local Amazon marketplace and search for either Stephen Christensen or Canada's Indian Act. Visit stephenchristiansen.ca for more episodes of Before, Behind, and Between. This podcast is available on all platforms and podcast streaming apps, including Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Music. I'm Stephen Christiansen. Thanks for listening.
Production of Stephen Christensen. Podcast complete.